Hurricane shutters made locally by us for you. Shade image protection. We've got you covered. It gives me great pleasure this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, those who are listening and viewing around the world, to introduce to you for this conversation the Honorable Priest Isaac. He is no stranger to this broadcasting medium. He's certainly no stranger to Voice of the People. And today, as we dialogue, we're going to be talking about a range of topics, topics including some achievements that he has personally had, topics regarding education, topics regarding Greencastle Hill. You know, he the guru when he come to that hill there up there. And we're going to have this discussion and this dialogue. Hey, good afternoon, priest, and welcome to Voice of the People.
Yes, my brother. Blessed love to you and blessed love to your audience and all those who are listening at home and abroad. It's an honor that I could come and sit with you here in the trenches and, sup with you and partake and go to another level. I don't know if I'm sitting in the seat of the mighty queen, but I guess that's an honor too.
That's an honor. Definitely. Listen, I want to open the dialogue and discussion with this certificate that I am looking on. It is a certificate course in Archaeoastronomy. I do not know what that is, and so I would like for you to first of all tell me about this course, what is it, why you took it, and how the knowledge derived from that course could impact anybody in Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, thank you again, my brother, and I sense that we have a few moments today. We have time. So before I delve into that, I just want to say something concerning something you didn't bring up, but every now and again one's asked me, and I think ones are concerned. People ask, how is it that I could carry the title honorable? And I've never been elected to office, parliament, etc., etc. And I think it's important. It's a good question, Now, the title of honorable specifically is not necessarily affiliated with a Westminster system as such. In fact, just as we're speaking of certificate, I am actually a certified priest, with a certificate from the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation. It's not the priest in the concept of a priest in the sense of a preacher or a bishop. It's a house of priests, but I'm not going to go into the depths of that. Now, Marcus Mosiah Garvey specifically, who we consider our grand prophet, it is he who, as it relates to history, the individual who really came and brought a certain light, a certain remembrance of civilization to the black man at home and abroad. And it is he that instructed us, his followers, that we should consider ourselves honorable. Even when I refer to you, you hear me say, but my honorable brother, because we are honorable. You don't have to get elected, if you're elected, you'll be double honorable, but still, because we are honorable people. We are taught by Marcus Garvey to honor ourselves. So those who are part of the organization that I'm speaking of, that I am a part of, we would refer to each and every one, down to the baby, as the honorable prince and princess. So it's not no ego trip or nothing, and we feel we're better than nobody, nothing like that. It's just that I guess I'm the representative, in the eyes of the people around here for that order. Now, yes, as you're speaking of archaeoastronomy, my good brother, now really it's like 2 decades now that I've been into the study of astronomy itself, the movements of the heavens, as a young budding Ras. I could never forget the day that I visited, my mother's home there in Radio Range, and my mother is a teacher. Well, we'll say was a teacher, but she's still teaching me. She's still with us, She has passed on, but she definitely still with me. And she had a bag of books, and I went through the books, and there was this hardcover book named The Stars. It was as if it was a mystic how I found this book, and I opened the book, and I started to study the book. It was very simple. It showed you exactly all the patterns for the zodiac constellations, how you could find Pole Star and Orion and these different things. And that's actually my first venture into studying the stars. So I started to map the heavens, started to pick out constellations. At this present time, I'm telling you, I could read the heavens quite well. I just let the sun set, and I could point everything out to you. In fact, to the point now that even when the sun is up, I could still tell you, well, the Scorpio is right over here. Orion is there at the moment, because it comes with the studying and the understanding of the astronomical clock. So anyway, as we proceed, there was a connection that came between me and Greencastle Hill not too long after that. I took that hike up to the hill with Brother Lindley Winter and Stevenson Punter and Brother Ewart Isaac. It was a Whit Monday. And I did marvel at the stones and the rocks that you yourself has partaken of several times. And I came back the next day, with the chalwa and everything, and held my meditation on the throne. And, from then on, it was just like history. I mean, that's my baby dear, Greencastle Hill. So, of course, we wrote the book Anu. Not too long after that, 2003, 2004, Anu, Ancient and Modern came out. That book is subtitled The Spirit of Antigua. Still available. You could get it on Amazon. We have updated it. New pictures, new information, Anu, Ancient and Modern, Priest Isaac, Amazon. You can check it out and you'll get the book. And quite economical on Amazon for real. And then when you observe it now, we cited in that book the works of Mara Imbert, who is an archaeoastronomer from the University of the West Indies. She did a study on that hill. Brother Ewart Isaac was with her. We have pictures of that. In fact, there's a picture of that in the book, the updated version of the book specifically. And Ewart Isaac and some other individuals from Bendel's, I guess, assisted her and her team as it related to the studies that she was doing on some of the key stones on Greencastle Hill. So she has articles that you could find in BWI magazine. She has a report that she gave on the megaliths on Greencastle Hill. All of this is on the internet. And she speaks not only of the alignment of the phallic stone, I mentioned that from time to time, but her report goes in depth as it relates to which is known as the azimuth of certain stars, as it relates to the degree from the northern celestial pole, and how it relates to the Mayans' understanding of the stars and the Incas' understanding of the stars and the Aztecs' understanding of the stars. That's what she specifically says in her report. I'm not trying to make it sound jumbled up. I'm actually showing you what she's saying, and she's saying that is perfectly aligned with Greencastle Hill. So even if a person don't even clearly understand what I'm saying, it sounds big. It sounds serious. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. So she clearly says that the phallic stone, and the time we're going to spend today, at the end of this, we intend that ones would have a better understanding of even what we're saying. So she's saying now, because this is just like an introduction, she's saying in her report that the phallic stone, the great phallic stone that you know well, has a specific alignment with the Little Dipper on the 21st day of March, which is the spring equinox, every year. All right. So taking all of that into myself, and as I said, I studied the heavens, especially on a theological level, because I would say I've unraveled many different mysteries in the king. I'm not afraid nor ashamed to say so. I'm an unraveler. I'm a mystic too. I don't have to wait for a second opinion to say that, So I've even seen for myself that even within the scripture, remember the 19th Psalm says that the heavens declare
the glory of God.
The glory of God.
And the firmament.
And the firmament show it his handiwork. What the next verse say?
Day unto day uttereth speech,
Exactly.
and night unto night showeth knowledge.
So and there's no speech nor language or something like that where the voice is
not heard.
So the point is now, so what that is saying that, okay, the heavens, we know that's not heaven, not heaven.
Heavens.
The heaven, right. That's the sky.
Celestial.
Exactly.
Heaven.
And the firmament, the same thing. Show it his handiwork. But this is the important. Day unto day utter its speech. So that means the heavens and its movements, day unto day, night unto night, is telling you something. It's uttering speech, showing you knowledge. But you must be able to read the heavens. In the same way that you're English literate, Spanish literate, you can be celestial literate. And that is why now even in the 12th chapter of Revelation, it speaks about there's a woman laying in the heavens, and she was clothed with the sun, and the moon was under her feet, and there was a crown of 12 stars upon her head. That's the constellation of Virgo. For at a specific time, she is literally clothed with the sun.
Look that way.
It
the
looks
picture.
so. And the moon is under her feet too. And she is the head of the 12 zodiac constellations. But because of the allegorical way that them scriptures and other things, not just the Bible, is written, it might sound like a story. But anyway, long story short now. So outside of the theological aspect of it now, you see Greencastle Hill now, because Greencastle Hill is almost at the center of this, because there are many different avenues of, if you want to say, craft and skills that we do apply. We're historian too, we're other things. But you see, there's an importance with Greencastle Hill. As you know, it's a hill that is being destroyed.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yes, and there's a lot of politics involved in it too, and legal matters. Things that I have good comprehension of more and more as the days go by. Now, the certificate came after a course that was done with a university in Italy, and I will give you some more of that.
And that is the Milano
Politecnico.
Let me see.
Politecnico
de Milano.
That's an Italian university from 1863. Yes.
Well, I wanted to hold it there. We have to take a break, and we're going to come back to the continuation of how it is that you got involved in this and what it is. We're having a discussion with the Honorable Priest Isaac, and he was just laying the foundation for us to explain why and what precipitated his interest, particularly in pursuing the course here in Archaeoastronomy. And he laid out a case that came from the genesis of his interest to where we are now at the university, who has this course that he took, and he will continue from there.
Yes, my good brother. Yeah. So the great griot always says, well, this is the one people always refer to.
Anawase.
Right. Okay.
Paddy the Great Simon.
Paddy the Great Simon. But my personal favorite one is Donkey do the work and Haas get the credit. Oh, that one is sweet. I tell you what, that one there, home run. But so to be honest, just as they said of Christ, they said, but who is this man that speaketh and haveth no letters? That's what they're saying. So they expect some letters behind the name, PhD, Esquire, some kind of little thing.
So a long time out in that story there.
Exactly. So to be very honest, that is one of the main things. And this is just the beginning, We're going on to, I'm already enrolled in an astronomy course. Because archaeoastronomy courses are hard to find. It is considered a relatively new science. But it's obviously one of the heaviest sciences that exists. And it can't be no new science when we are observing monuments and sculptures that are thousands upon thousands of years old. But we're getting into that in a moment there. So, as I said, because of the importance of that, we decided to go through this course. But listen to this. Within the first, I would say, 2 months going into it, I must say that most of what I came across, I already knew. And that is obviously because of the work. And it's not no easy course, my lord. I'm telling the eye. And some serious studying. And, you have to really put your time into it. And I must say the online platform that carried the course, I would say did a good job. They ain't pay me to say this, but I must say, well interactive and online live chat room at any time, even with the Mr. Magley, the professor. So it was well put together, I must say, and it demanded a lot of study in my lord. But after a while, it really got more difficult. As I said, I passed with an 82.40% you know, and I attribute that honestly to the fact that I was already into that sort of thing. Because if you come into that from scratch, I don't know if you could go through that. Because, you know, it's timing. You have a week to go through this chapter. You have a week. You have a deadline. And you just have to meet it. So, but now, listen to this. After going through this, I have more appreciation for Greencastle Hill, because the knowledge has increased as it relates to megalithic sites that are on the planet. You know, even on the solstice event that we had, that was a wonderful success as well. All of these things I would like to speak about, how we are still contributing to keeping the name of Greencastle Hill alive, and even generating revenue from it straight up. We have a company called Rastafari Experience Antigua. So we are certified in all different ways and forms. We don't just come to chat and play around, you know. This is a serious revolution that is taking place. So observing now, as I said, the Honorable Griot Paddy Simon explained to us on the summer solstice, and give thanks again for the great elder for coming and, you know, spending some time with us, that the name Greencastle came from Ireland. And interestingly, in Ireland, close to the place called Greencastle Hill, you know, you have three of the more outstanding sites that are said to be what we call hierophany sites. And hierophany is really where the astronomical movements connects with the monument. And this usually happens on the 21st day of March, September, June, and of course December, where you have the solstices and the equinoxes. So in Ireland, where the name Greencastle comes from, there's a place called Newgrange. This is like what you call an oval sort of dome-shaped temple of worship. And on the rising sun of the winter solstice, the sun itself would go through a door and a window and align with what is referred to as the holiest of holies in the background. You see, when you study all of these megalithic sites across the world, Stonehenge is considered to be the standard bearer of megalithic sites. That is why Greencastle Hill is called the Stonehenge of the Caribbean. So what is Stonehenge all about? Well, again, especially on the solstices, Stonehenge is built in such a way that the sun has an alignment with specific stones that are in a row at Stonehenge. So on the summer solstice, you will see the rising of the sun and the light of the sun coming through certain archways. Okay. On the setting of the winter solstice, and you go back to the same Stonehenge in Salisbury in England, you see the same action taking place on the setting of the sun. You go to the great pyramids of Giza. Some of these pyramids are built to align with the movements of the stars, not just the sun. Aligning something to the sun is nothing hard, you know. So all of these megalithic sites across the earth that people have put together, even some churches in Rome and ancient Greece, and all of these temples built again to align like clocks, like almanacs, to the movement of the sun, the moon, planets as well, and even the movements of the stars. All of these were built by the hands of man. Mm-hmm. Greencastle Hill, let me tell you, Greencastle Hill is a gem amongst gems. Mm-hmm. Greencastle Hill has what is called constant hieronyphy. All of them are
broke down that. Right?
That means every moment there's something aligning with Greencastle Hill, because the megaliths are countless. That's number one. And it's not covered, and the borders are clear. You know? So in other words, Stonehenge in England then, you only have a proper alignment on the solstices and the equinoxes. It's just some big stones in a circle and a next horseshoe set of stones in the middle. Mm-hmm. It look nice. It's nice. I've been there. Mm-hmm. It's pretty. Mm-hmm. But Greencastle Hill is a hill with volcanic rocks coming out of the earth. This ain't no joke.
That nobody planned.
This is so serious, King. And now one rock, there's nothing like this nowhere else on the planet. I said, just go to the course, I said, watch this.
And so the truth of the matter behind this is that if what you are saying there is true, then somebody somewhere should be making some attempt and some effort to in some way preserve this as something that could be there for generations to come to teach this archaeoastronomy. Yeah, man, another word there. But somebody somewhere have to find out that this is so important that it should be preserved, it should be cleared, it should be developed in a way so that we could have the same impact that Stonehenge has on Salisbury.
That's it. And not just Stonehenge, all of these sites that I mentioned. I don't think there's the fact that they're being mentioned, not just in not just in the course that I took, but you'll see them in documentaries and so on. So not as in depth as what has been explained to I as it relates to the course that I took there. But all of these places are preserved. Peru, down in Peru, Machu Picchu, another beautiful sites. All of these sites I'm speaking of, I will visit them at some time, obviously, in my studies. So Stonehenge don't tick off the list. But there's nothing, again, like what we have here at Greencastle Hill. So all of those rocks you see, my lord, every rock, every single rock. Because what we're doing now, and I say we talking about Rastafari Experience Antigua, myself, the Honorable Ras Dre, and our family. What we are doing is that we are actually studying the hill right now,
Good. Well, that's great because, tomorrow starts the Voice of the People Summer Reading Project when we're going to be studying the work of Caitlin Smith into Shoot Hard Labor 2. And ironically, that is one of the focal points of the book because he talked about it in that book. And so my hope is that you will listen into that program and try to get an input there because I don't know anybody that know as much about Greencastle Hill as you and Ras Dre. I mean, I've gone there with other people, separate to when I go with y'all. And it's almost like people are lost when they go there.
Right. So I say something about that. But anyway, no, but you have to respect to what you say now, but you have to separate the history of Greencastle Hill from the let's say the landscape of Greencastle Hill, because I'm sure there are many that have the history well more down pack. You know what I mean? Because there's a history to it. That's why we brought the griot for the summer solstice, where the griot tell the people, I mean, I had to pull out my pen and pad too, but I just kind of figuratively speaking, as they say, being a little powerful there. But it's recorded, so it all went down good. So the point now is that I just trying to give a understanding to the family properly now. When I say we are studying it, the countless of rocks on the hill, to those who may be hearing this for the first time, they are arrayed in specific orders and they resemble many different things. My brother, I don't know if you remember the Olmec head, but the Olmec head is this stone structure that has its mouth open and there's like a big stone in front of it. It's in the Eternal City. Okay. This is what I discovered the other day. Now, there is something known as the opening of the mouth ceremony. Well, I knew this from before. In fact, if you know the stone, that means I would have explained this. There's something in ancient Kemet, Africa, Northeast Africa. That's the place they call Egypt today, known as the opening of the mouth ceremony. And the ceremony is said that when the king, or what they call the pharaoh, which is a profane name, by the way, but let's just use it, an object that has a specific shape. It looks like a spoon, really, called an adze. Adze. It's more A-D-Z-E. And when that opens the mouth, it's supposed to grant him, like his soul should be taken up into the ether and the celestial world and these different things. It's all symbolic, spooky thing. It's symbolism. But anyway, I've always been saying that Olmec head statue on Greencastle Hill with his mouth wide open. Anybody can see that, the nose, the face, mouth open, and this thing in front of him. I always tell people when we carry them up there, this represents the opening of the mouth ceremony. It's only the other day I realized that if you stand in front of the Olmec statue, you're actually facing to the north. Now, the Big Dipper in the heavens, which is not a constellation, it's a sub-constellation, a part of a great constellation known as Ursa Major, and it is circumpolar. So that means it goes around the northern celestial pole. At a specific time of the year, it will line up perfectly behind the head of the Olmec taking the opening of the mouth ceremony. And the Big Dipper is said to be, not me saying this is according to ancient chematology. The Big Dipper represents that same Adze that is opening the mouth, and is opening the mouth of the Olmec, and right behind of it in the night sky you see the same symbol that opens the mouth, which is the Big Dipper. It's real deep, my brother.
Yeah. Well, on that, we're going to take the top of the hour and come right back. 20. Our privilege to be here with the Honorable Priest Isaac, and he's laying down some information here that many of you may never have heard before, and some will never hear again. But the truth of the matter is that I think that this is critical information for us as Antiguans and Barbudans, because you might think that he's talking about someplace outside of Antigua, but he's really talking about one of our national treasures here that I think we don't pay enough attention to. And as you start to talk about stars and constellations, priest, to stay on topic, sometimes I think that we don't have an understanding of much of this because our knowledge or exposure is limited. I'm going to give you a case in point. I grew up in Antigua, right? And my grandfather spent a lot of time at his ground in Patterson. Many nights we would have had the opportunity to be there with him, many early morning before the sunrise and so on. But I went to Africa, in Malawi, and I lived in northern Malawi, in a city named Zuzu. And I remember I lived in a village, right? A poor village, a farming village. Had a house, and my 2 children were with me. We had a tablet, an iPad tablet, and it had on it an app that could tell you the name of every star. You just point it up in the ear. It will show you every constellation. It will tell you all this. But at night, and then no current is there, no lamppost and so.
I hear you.
And if you want to get the explanation of that, you have to go to place like that. Anyway, I came home one night. We drove in the yard with the vehicle. We turned off the lights as we were going inside. And I believe it was my son, because he was into that app a lot. And we looked up in the sky, and it was nearly like light shining down from stars. Now, you hear about the Milky Way until you see
For where you were.
the Milky Way. So it looked like milk.
Yeah, man.
Stars covered the sky. And I had never seen anything like that in any other country that I have been to in my life. And we stayed outside for, it must have been more than an hour that night, trying to understand, because we just see a few stars when we look up here. You can nearly individually count them. There, it was like milk throwaway when it comes to star. You can't identify anything. So when you are now talking about now the alignments here, and what line up with what where, and identifying the constellations, and it makes a difference. And this is why it is important for us to have people like yourself who have this interest to teach these topics to our children, so that they understand that is not some isolated CXC class thing that we're talking about that we're going to write down on a paper in geography that we're dealing with here. That all these things, if you bring it back now to Greencastle Hill, tie the history of Antigua and Barbuda and our enslaved ancestors to that. That this is a powerful lesson that we're talking about here.
Everything wrapped into one, the history, the astronomy. That's why you had to put two subjects together.
Archaeology and astronomy.
To figure it out. So what you're saying is right on the ball there, And what you're saying is deep, because for sure, as someone that would look at the heavens as such, and one must understand there's a great difference between astronomy and astrology, well, from the academic point of view, you know how the academics talk. Anything that sounds pseudo, even going through that course, there's certain things that those of us that may be woke or conscious, as they call it, may look into, like, chakra and these things. And they have certain cities in China, certain pyramids in China that is said to align with the natural grid of the chakra of the earth. But, the professors saying all of that is pseudoscience. Don't worry about that. But that's how academics speak, Remember, I go into that with a conscious mind, eh?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't going to come out with a necktie and a bow tie and say, yeah, man, master say and this and that. But anyway, so with what you're saying with the firmaments now and the canvas of the heavens and the stars, and of course, because really that's why you don't see them in the day, because of the brightness of the sun. All right, the sun gone, no moon out as yet. You see a good amount from around here. All right, hurricane pass, light off for a while. You see more. All right. You go up in the mountains. If you go Rastafari in a night, right? Wow, you see some nice, beautiful stars. You go up Greencastle Hill. Greencastle is really the observatory. Eh? You see more. So when you're in the pitch darkness where you are now, as you said, because I imagine you drew a very good picture there. Eh? Give thanks for that. You drew a very good picture. The light shining down, milk chow, everything that you see. You stood outside you didn't go inside?
No.
Right. You drew a very good picture. I get it clear. And I could see exactly what you're saying because, interesting, just before I came today, I went into the office of the esteemed DLP, and on his screensaver, he had the Milky Way. So I said, hey, that's the Milky Way, man, because I was showing him the certificate. And he said, congratulations. And I said, look, Mystic, you have the Milky Way. And he said, what are you talking about? The Milky Way, where? And I pointed on his computer, and he said, oh, that's what that is? I don't know them things. That's your business. You know them things. Yeah, But you could see the milk itself aligning. Now, you're talking about aligning with Antigua and everything. It's plenty of things in my head to say. I actually put something aside to come to something.
Go ahead.
This is important. I think this is more germane to us here.
Yeah.
Because the Milky Way has been astronomically proven to have the similar path of that of the River Nile. That is facts. NASA. You can go on the NASA website and see that. There's not no pseudoscience and somebody make up this. So, but this, which people may consider pseudoscience because it's not accepted, because I figured this one out. The River Nile from the delta in the north down to the borders of Egypt, very close to the first cataract. That River Nile has the exact shape of the Caribbean island chains from the Virgin Island to Trinidad. So if you split from the Virgin Island to Trinidad, and you split the River Nile just where it borders Sudan and Egypt, anywhere around there, and you take that line and you put the island them in the sea or in the river, it line up. And we do that already. All of that is in our book.
Well, I want you to know.
Good.
So that you understand. Just that one discovery there, man get whole doctorate from that. You understand me? I mean, man go school and then get one PhD behind their name for figure out them things there. Right? And so, me personally, I certainly support education. I don't believe the most educated people have the paper to demonstrate that either. But the fact that those kind of facts that you talk about is the kind of knowledge I think that we need to be exposed to, the kind of progressive thinking of being able to go out and search and look for. And here it is then that you had a body of knowledge before, you wanted to add more knowledge, and there's a book that says you must study to show yourself approved, right? Exactly. And you decide that, there is more knowledge out there that I can layer the knowledge that I have with, and probably knowledge in the future to come again. And you decide to go out there and do that. And I want to just offer you congratulations, dear, for practicing things that people preach, because around here, we have some weird concepts. We have concepts like you can finish from school and this kind of thing. So you will hear people saying, well, I am done from school, right? Of course, you cannot ever be done from school unless you're dead, right? Because education is perpetual, and every day of your life is an education.
Even the point you hit yesterday, when you're on Dave, yesterday or whenever it was, that point was heavy, that thing about you can take CXC anytime.
Anytime.
I'm sure 99% of the people said, wait.
Yeah, anytime. There's no age limit or restriction. Not anybody can take it once you have acquired the knowledge.
One subject, take your time.
One by one.
One by one.
Yes,
wow.
and we.
So what a rush.
The system, though. The system, and of course, the system is sometimes not good for us. But at the end of the day, I think what you have here is something important. People should understand now that you bring knowledge to the table. You have been certified by some other people to have that knowledge. And I'm, for one, excited to see that knowledge being used. But there have a couple of things that I have on my paper that I want to ask you before we leave here. Time is finite here on this program, but
if you want to give them a little open the line.
Yeah, we can open the line. As a matter of fact, we're going to take the break and then we'll open the lines when we come back.
You're listening to the Voice of the People on Observer Radio.
Welcome back to Voice of the People for Thursday, 1st July 2021. And you are listening to Voice of the People. And today with us we have the Honorable Priest Isaac, and he is just breaking down a whole bunch of knowledge with us here. Folks, I mean, without in any way passing my place or anything, I mean, nobody out there can explain to me what make them and the people that educate the next generation in Antigua and Barbuda. What make this kind of knowledge that is brought to the table here is not available to our children anyway in any of the academic settings that we have in Antigua and Barbuda. And we have to go and do something to change that, because this knowledge, I think, is critical to our existence and our forward movement. But before we get back to the conversation, so, Priest, the phone lines are open. So, anybody who have a contribution, a question to ask Priest Isaac on the topic that we're discussing here, or things related to Greencastle Hill, the Rastafari experience, and the things that priests do, and education in general, you can feel free to call in. Let we have a organic discussion here on the matter. We have somebody on the line. Good afternoon, caller, and welcome to Voice of the People.
Hot up, my beloved brothers, and a special afternoon to Brother Isaac. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, my brother. Hot up to the eye, man.
Hot up. And to Brother Franz, too. Brother Franz, let me deal with you first, beloved. Let me say congrats to your son,
Appreciate it.
And my granddaughter in Zinga go to the same university, Buffalo State University upstate, man.
Very good.
Yes. She's studying. She's going to finish next year. Study psychology, man. You know? So
you have to give me your name. You have to give me your name so that the young people can link up and network. So that as them paths cross.
Nzinga Rosa. Yeah, like Queen Nzinga. Yeah. Nzinga Yeah. Yes, man. So, no, brother friends. Man, listen, brother, I don't know you get this revolutionary thinking, beloved brother. Great stuff, beloved. And let me commend you again, beloved. Yesterday, and brother Dave Lester Payne, man, brilliant ideas, beloved. Brother, just continue to do the great work. And now to you, Brother Isaac.
Yes,
beloved, let me thank you, man, for the great things you have been doing over the years, beloved. And, brother, let me ask you, you're supposed to know, but I'm just asking you, can't remember ever hear you mention it when I listen to you. You know about the doggone people out of West Africa, right?
Definitely.
Okay, my brother, ain't nobody when it comes to astrology and astronomy, man, greater than those ancestors and elders, man, the doggone people. And, brother, when this time when you come again, man, I want you to elaborate about the doggone people.
Yeah, man,
beloved
we can do that. I think I touched upon that on the program already once upon a time,
Okay, well, I probably wasn't listening that time, man. So the people know that you're coming with, brother. Ain't no, like you said, no pseudo thing, man. Our people being out there, even the great Imhotep, beloved, do that too. And you know that the pyramids in Kemet, the Greeks call Egypt. But then you know those pyramids align with the sun and moon and everything, beloved. So, beloved, just keep up the great works, my brother. Keep up the great works, and you too, the friends, man. And, just walk in the spirit of our African ancestors, man. The greatest people in the history of civilization and who created civilization, beloved brother. And we got to walk in their footsteps, but we got to add our own version, but never stray from what our ancestors gave us. Thanks again for hearing me, my beloved African brothers. Pan-Africanism our purse. One love.
Thank you so much. Let's stay on the phone lines. Good afternoon, caller, and welcome to Voice of the People with Priest Isaac.
Yeah. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Mr. Isaac, I called in some time ago. It's pertaining to how you were getting through with the if they're going to have a cutoff point as to the blowing of the hill, because I actually took a good look at the destruction recently, and in a short space of time, if they're not, they don't stop. I don't know if they're going to have any hill there. What I'm saying is, possible that if you guys could get the whole community together and file a class action suit or something, because that blowing needs to stop. If it's as important as you're mentioning.
Oh man, yeah man, even more important than what I said. I just scratching.
Man.
I just scratching the surface. But I must say, even as far as the dynamiting part of it, there a lot of the problem right now is that on the northeastern side, the quarry company that controls that side, that is the side that is getting the most demolishing now. And not only just demolishing, but a lot of litter and rubbish is always up there every single time. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And yes, brother, complaints have been filed, and of course there is a unity within us and the Benders community as well. And many other things are taking place that, let's just say, in the future you will hear about it, man. Yeah. That's for sure.
Let's take this caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to Voice of the People.
Good afternoon, mate. Good afternoon, buddy. Please, Isaac. How we doing?
Brother. Yes, family.
Yeah, man. What's up? Mr. DeFatrus.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
I am excellent, sir.
Okay, now let's talk about Green Castle later, okay?
Yes,
because I think the whole country should get down in this.
Yes, sir.
This is our country, and you have nobody coming on the blood on the hill, and the hill is so important in the world.
Yeah, man.
It's not the anti thing only, it's the whole world. The equinox and this thing and this hill and stuff like that is a very important part of the planet Earth. And why we are so dumb to blow down that hill there, and the government ain't doing nothing about it. This is ridiculous, man. What kind of government we have? Huh? What kind of people are we? We should go around there and just move on that company down there, tell them to stop, blow the hill down. Because that's our hill. You understand that now? This is what it should be like. We should up in arms and go down there and tell them to stop blowing that hill down.
All right.
Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I mean, you see the educational part of it. This is why, there's a lot of talk of staying in lanes, and it's important for real. This is why our part of it is the educational aspect. This is just one aspect of this, because people not gonna move unless they know what they're moving for. When you see people rise up and stand up, is usually when they understand what they're standing up for. So the educational aspect, because a lot of people wouldn't say anything about the hill unless it has been years of speaking, edifying, and talking about, the importance of such. And but I would like to, once we have the time there, to give the audience at least a little understanding where we stand officially as it relates to Green Castle Hill.
Go ahead and do that now then.
As Rastafari Experience Antigua now, that's a company. Myself and Rasdre, we actually own that company. Labeled as a hike and tour company, but as you could see, it had many different facets, and we actually express the culture of Rastafari in Antigua, and of course the natural history and heritage of the land. And of course, we just had an equinox, as I said, a solstice, pardon me. Now let me explain this just quickly, that the summer solstice experience is something that we invite people from all over the world to come down and visit and spend time with us. And we have been doing a good job thus far the last couple of years that we have ventured into that. But for the season of COVID, we've been doing it virtually, and it has paid off. I mean, 20, 30, 40 people would be on our live stream. It may sound like a little bit of people, but when you understand all of these people are overseas, and they would have paid, I ain't afraid to tell nobody, they pay to watch us go up Green Castle Hill and talk about the rocks and all of these different things. I only stress it that way to let us understand what benefits can be derived. Is me and Rasdre saying, I can't call no big financier behind of us. Give thanks for Sister Soldier for her assistance too. That said, is I and I down here on grassroots then, putting together our resources and exposing and exporting to the knowledge of Antigua and this heritage that we have to the world. There are many people on this planet that are very interested in this sort of stuff. Megaliths and alignments and yoga and Zen. People will come and live up there if you had accommodations there for spiritual people to come and live. So, I mean, we have many ideas. We have shared our ideas with the cabinet. The present Prime Minister, that's Mr. Gaston Brown, he has visited the hill with us. In fact, it is after that visit that we got the cabinet meeting. Just giving you a little rundown on where we are from even that time. And we were turned over to Minister Malwin Joseph. And from that time, we were given the mandate to work with the Department of Environment. And it is in writing. I'm just saying this so everyone understands from a company point of view. It is in writing that we have the authority as far as even preparing business plan and so, which already has been done, in relation to specifically the Shirkley Mountains project that should be taking place, that takes up the whole of the Shirkley Mountains area and a good chunk of Green Castle Hill as well. So it's not just like Priest Isaac talking about Green Castle Hill. In the same way that we're talking about the certificate and it certifies certain things, we are in a position as a company where I could clearly say we have our foot in the door. So even understanding that, you must know that there are many other things, even as I said, will come out in the future that we are working on.
All right. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. No? All right. We're going to continue with our discussion, and I want to bring you to a place that I think is important for us to discuss. I can't make you come here and leave here and don't touch this one here. But if we're going to thrive in Antigua and Barbuda as a nation, in my view, I think there are a couple of things that we're gonna have to add to our system of education to change what outcomes that we get. So I'm going to make a stretch here, and my hope is that as we open back up the phone lines a little bit into this conversation, people may disagree with me on this point and tell me where I am wrong. But I am of the opinion that our education system has to be revamped in a way to create wealth for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. I am proposing today, as I sit here, the system of education that we have does not create wealth for Antiguans and Barbudans. It equips us to be in a servile position and have others create wealth on our backs. I am proposing that we should shift the education system to include the things that you are talking about here. Tell me those things about astrology, right? Astronomy. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I get the two of them mixed up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Astronomy, to talk about history, to talk about the legacy we have in Greencastle Hill. Maybe that can fall in the category of ancestral and local history. To deal with things like how to create wealth. You're talking about Rastafari experience, a registered entity with a view of bringing education and creating wealth for people who are working with your organization. I'm talking about adding things like trades and crafts and skills to the curriculum, because I cannot imagine you having a hand in developing Greencastle Hill without reflecting on certain trades and skills that would have been present some time ago in Antigua and Barbuda. And then the idea of speaking publicly and storytelling, something that you do every time that you go up the hill. What you're doing is telling the story of Greencastle Hill. I've been there with you on various occasions, and I am saying to you that in our current education system, I would propose that they have less than 30% of children who are coming out of it who are capable of expressing themselves in a way that will lend towards wealth creation right out of their secondary education experience. And then in Antigua, we deal with the issue a lot of respect for life, especially for those who are vulnerable, seniors, children, and disabled people. That is not in our education system. So talk to me a little bit about how you see an education system infused with the things that you have come here to talk about today.
Yes, especially when you speak of wealth creation. That's something that generational wealth, because all we pass on right now is generational poverty, because you can't pass on a degree, You definitely can't pass on a job. You know what I mean? The most you might be able to pass on is a business, but still it's more than the business you want to pass on. You want to pass on generational wealth. Very, very important, and I totally agree. You cannot duck and hide from the fact that the educational system has been created specifically to industrialize people. You're actually creating workers, from the way you sit down in class and the cubicle and the whole thing. It's designed by the Rockefeller family, real thing. That's the truth. For the industrial age, I should say. So you create workers, no matter how high in the echelons, as you would say, they are, no matter what they drive and what they wear. You see how they deal with Bill Cosby and they just change their mind and let him go? No matter how high, and it's the next subject, but no matter how high you think you reach in his tower, you're still in his tower because he trained you for that. The biggest university and the biggest this and yes, Esquire and blah, blah, blah. You're still a slave to him. You understand? Because he know, hear this king. He know. Look at all them basketball players. Let's be clear. If LeBron and Curry and old boy Jordan and Carl Pippen and call them and, hey, listen, let's buy a cruise ship now. I'll tell you what, let's buy about a couple fleet of jet. Somebody goes, hey, remember what happened to Bill Cosby? No, it's the same thing, No disrespect to Observer News, I guess they say, but the comedian Bill Cosby has been released. Bill Cosby is far beyond a comedian.
Absolutely.
Bill Cosby is almost, even a man like Wesley Snipes. You know why Wesley Snipes get snuffed out of the picture? Because he was highlighting a great man like John Henrik Clark, and he was getting conscious. You know, he was changing his library. No, man, when you...
But Bill Cosby go for by the
Exactly.
media empire day.
This is the point I'm
before
making.
all this happened.
This is the
and
point.
then all of a sudden, like 1 ton of bricks, it dropped down, and then 2 years later, they say, oh, sorry.
33 women up here. 33 women.
But that is another story.
Yeah, you're right. So, but what I'm saying is that the point I'm making, King, because you have to look at it from the root. The point I'm making, you must understand that the system has definitely been designed to keep you out of generational wealth. That's my point. That's why when the individually wealthy ones get together, the more wealthy ones look and say, hey, something going on down there with them Negroes, go and check it out. And that's just reality. So even you have to know how to get around even these little simple things. You have to know the banking system. You know, we think the bank is like when you watch Andy Griffith and you carry the money to the bank and they put it in a shoebox and put on a name and in the safe. Nothing goes up. That's why you can carry 20,000 and then go back for 10 and they say, well, we can only give you 5. You know, how come? And I leave 20. I supposed to come for 21. You know, but what I'm saying, my brother, all of that is important. You have to teach that to the child as they are evolving. Even if you teach it to them in a cartoon form or with puppets, but you got to teach it to them so they understand the environment and the game and you know the field that we are playing in. Now, saying that to say now, again, affirmation is very important. We do not teach how whatever subject area it's going to come into, but the positivity, positive thinking, believing in yourself, self-esteem, that is very, very important. You know, repeating to yourself that I am a wealthy. From a child, I'm wealthy. I'm rich, because that's how we start, you know, oh, that a for me car. I say, for me car, oh, well, look for me there. Because we have that ability to imagine. Somebody beat that out of us.
I mean, controversially, I might suggest to you that the school system stops you from imagining and from dreaming. And it corrupts the thought. Or confuses the notion of wealth versus riches, right? And so what we are accustomed to learn about when we go to school is things, riches. But the truth is that wealth is a different level of things. It includes things that cannot be bought and sold, that nobody could afford to buy from you. And it is important for us to understand and learn what wealth is, so that when people show up here and offer you X dollars for the patrimony of your forefathers, you have to explain to them that no amount of money that you have can buy these things, because they don't have any monetary value that you could afford to take them away from us. But these concepts are not, in my view, and I may be wrong, somebody can call and tell me where I'm saying is wrong, but nobody can explain to us why this is not being taught to children. Therefore, we wonder why when people grow up around here, they can sell their vote. They can sell the land that their parents give them, and this kind of view, because nothing is restraining us from throwing away what we have already acquired in our existence over time. And I think it's important that our education system of a sovereign nation that we control as people should at least give us a chance that we can survive and build well. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon and welcome to Voice of the People.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Afternoon.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you're dealing with this particular situation. You remember I have a conversation with you concerning that we have a lot of brothers and sisters go up and get all these degrees and come back home, and we still following the system that we learn it from. Well, that is the same thing you're talking. Technically, the same thing you're talking about. In other words, we don't develop a program for our country itself. We don't have any idea where you're just talking about wealth. And I showed you where the IMF came in when they come into our country. The first thing they tell the government to do is to sell off the asset, which is the wealth of the country, isn't it? And so I always said to you that we keep following the international situation. We go to these schools, we learn how the economy runs and everything. Yes, but they do not put it in place for us. Just as you said before, We're just here to be used and abused. We don't get back home and put a system, from what we learned, put a system in place for Antigua and Barbuda, a country of 108 square miles that has no resources, that no natural resources, that we have only tourism to go on. We have no natural resources, we have no factories, and this is not just for Antigua alone, it's the Caribbean country, right? So what we do now, we follow the same pattern. We cannot follow the same pattern. We have to put a system in place for us, and it has to go to the school. We have independence since 1981. We don't have a educational program in Antigua and Barbuda for Antigua and Barbuda, and we're wondering why our kids are not nationalistic basis, because we don't have instruction in the school. Mm-hmm. So what you're discussing there is basically some of the very thing I was talking to you about a week ago, and I do hope that we can get into some more heavier things concerning this, because we need to change the whole education system. And our government, I will say this again, this is very important, this part I'm saying here. Our government do need to get into business. This thing is talking about government can't be in business with corporations, it's stripping it. All those countries in the East that have all the wealth in the country, is the government control those things. Mm-hmm. When they tell you government can't come because they want a corporation to control us, mm-hmm. we have to understand that there's no other way for the government to get money, otherwise they're going to continue to tax our people out of existence, because they have no other means to get money but to tax us.
All right.
To offset that.
Go ahead. Finish your thought, because we have a couple of more calls on the line.
Okay. To offset that, the government has to go into cooperation with private business or into business by themselves, that the government could make money. We can't continue to come to the people to tax them and tax them out of existence. And I would maintain that. I've been saying that for decades, and I hope you can understand that.
All right. Thank you so much for your contributions. Let's stay on the phone lines. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Franz. That's me?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you and Priest Isaac.
Yeah, my brother. Respect,
and to that caller, it's not about government, it's responsible people. People must be responsible to control revenues that are collected. And I disagree that with an IMF program, it's a financial institution. And any financial institution, you must be responsible. You must be committed to, if you borrow, how you're going to control your spending. And so I do not take umbrage with what he says about with government having to be involved. It's not just government, but responsible government, responsible people.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge presides, and knowledge is really power. And we are looking into getting this thing should be really advanced into the circles in our society, in our communities, that what is important we're not taught. And it is like in school, when they tell you about history, local history is not even taught in school. And so you have to learn some of these things from wherever quarters. I finally want to say, they made mention that there is something in writing, besides that when the Prime Minister visited Greencastle Hill. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say, make sure it's properly documented, because the old road fight, the old road people had something that was signed in writing, and the people today in office don't seem to want to respect what was done some decades ago. I just wanted to put that on the table.
All right. Thanks for your contribution. Let's stay on the phone lines. Good afternoon.
Hey, Paul and Franz, how are you?
Hey, doing well. Paul is out today. Is Priest Isaac and Franz.
Okay, buddy. I'm just calling on behalf of my colleagues, my Caribbean Neighborhood Services colleagues. It's a whole year now we haven't got our money. Mr. Richards is the CEO, is the general manager, and they just got a new contract, Virgin Atlantic, and they're not telling us what's going on with our money, nothing at all. The unions, everything, everybody just hush.
Sir?
What do we do in a case like that?
Sir, you get an attorney and you intervene on behalf of yourself and your colleagues in the court of Antigua and Barbuda. We have to stop just trying to call in on the radio and frighten people. The thing that makes things work is money. And so if you touch their money. Just get somebody to file some kind of injunction somewhere to stop their money from flowing for any new contract. I'm not a lawyer or nothing, but get a lawyer and find out as a group, as a class of people, how it is you can lock down Caribbean airport services if they have money for you and they're not giving it to you. You just have to take some kind of legal action. We cannot continue to come on the radio and beg things, especially things that are illegal, right? With that, we're going to have to go to the break, and this is our final break for Voice of the People today. And you're listening to Priest Isaac, and we are here in the last 15 minutes of our program. We're going to take a couple of these WhatsApps as we wind down our conversation today. Now, we don't know that Priest going to have to come back because hardly scratch the surface here when he come and the amount of knowledge that he brings to the table. This one says, Franz, good afternoon. The concept of wealth should be taught to our school children because wealth should be taught to our school children because wealth is an abstract noun. It should be thoroughly explained to our people. We perish because of lack of knowledge. All right, at least the one person here agree with me that it should be taught, that we can't leave it out. I thought it was going to be controversial and people would disagree with me. Hey, have you ever thought of writing officially to cabinet regarding the hill and your concerns, Priest?
Well, I think we just ran through some little quick review of that we wrote and got accepted to come and speak to, and as I said, a few things has happened since then, and I would just say that the struggle continues.
Definitely. Right. Hey, good afternoon, Franz and the Honorable Priest Isaac. Based on what is being revealed on today's program, I was wondering if Stonehenge is a World Heritage Site, and if so, shouldn't Greencastle Hill also be a World Heritage Site?
Yeah, man. All them sites I spoke of earlier, and pyramids and Machu Picchu and Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom, all of these are World Heritage Sites. But Greencastle Hill, at least on the local spectrum, is a national park. All of that added to the whole dynamics of this dilemma,
Right, so Priest, maybe that is an angle. Thank you, WhatsApp. That is an angle that you can look at, English Harbor. Is a UNESCO site, I believe. And I don't believe that it is the government that actually did the work to get that designation. No. It might be some other people, and the government came along and endorsed and supported the whole 9 yards. And so that might be a way to look in terms of what you're doing, to engage some international organizations and under a government that has the vision. They would support that initiative so that we can stop the things that are eroding and mashing up the hill and be able to preserve it for future generations. This one here says, good day. What's the name of the book written about Greencastle Hill, and what about doing night tours before curfew ends?
Before curfew ends. Oh, okay, I get that part. Okay, I was trying to figure. We've done, well, the fact that you understand how the heavens work properly. You have to be there at night, and that's the levels that we're on right now. And we do tours that end with the sunset, and you actually see the stars coming out and certain alignments, and that's how I know for sure. No disrespect to the professional, but I know that I have figured out much more alignments than even the good sister Mara Imbert. I'm telling you. Yeah. The star Sirius that Brother Nabu was speaking about, that star has a specific alignment with the throne. You see the throne that everybody sit down on and take a picture? That throne, when you sit on the throne and you sit upright, because you see it has a certain angle, the leaning and lean back, and it's towards the eternal city. Well, in the night, when Sirius is out, you would see Sirius traversing over the eternal city. I mean, it's so beautiful. And when it reaches to a certain azimuth and angle and what you call, the angle itself, it actually aligns with the third eye of the person that's sitting down on that seat. I'm telling you. But because, remember, the stars has a different clock than the solar day and the sidereal, they are different. they have like 4 minutes apart. So when you see the star at a certain time, you're going to see it 4 minutes after that time tomorrow, and 4 minutes after that time the next day, and 4 minutes after that time the next day. That's how the heavens clock work and everything intertwine and eclipse and all of these different things. So the point I'm making, there are times when Sirius is out during the day, but once per day, Sirius will align with that throne that everybody sit down on. Just once per day. Every day it happens. But it's 4 minutes after, behind, every day. So if you understood that heaven's there, you could sit down in that seat at the right time if you believe in them kind of things. And that star would align with the third eye right between here, the crown chakra as they call it, or the brow chakra, each and every day, if you know the time. That's an alignment.
Yeah, this one here says Greencastle Hill was also called Shar Hill.
Okay.
And that is what somebody knows out there and is sharing with us. This one here says, good day, friends. Ask the Honorable Ras, when is the next time he's going up on the hillside to meditate, because I want to be there. I need the spirit of the earth in my soul. Meditation is good. Did it way back, but need to get back into it. Also ask if he does personal sessions along with members of his community. I love the skies because it's always impressed me of how it looks, and I always wonder what's really up there and what would it look and feel like being up there looking down. Thanks. I want to learn from him. How can I contact them? Hey, priest, let people know how they can reach,
Well, as far as the, I should say she or he upcoming tour, well, as far as meditation, I mean, I go up there all the time to meditate, but for sure, if you visit our Facebook site for starters, which is Rastafari Experience Antigua. That's Rastafari Experience Antigua. Also on Instagram, it's the same thing, Rastafari Experience Antigua. You would see the different events that we have upcoming. Our next grand event is definitely the summer, the equinox upcoming, the fall equinox. That will be the next grand event, and that's usually a double hike. We do it in the morning and we do it in the evening, not the very same day, like the Friday morning and the Sunday evening. Usually that is closest to the equinox, and that will be the next grand event that will be coming up. But just visit those sites, and for sure, you will definitely get all the information, even how you can contact us.
Yeah. Hey, good day, friends. The only thing being handed down is the Bible. Generational sadness, this one says in WhatsApp. Still working. Let me see. This one says still waiting on the name of the book. What's your book, please?
I like that. Anu, Ancient and Modern. ANU. ANU, Ancient and Modern. Amazon, Priest, Isaac. And that was one of the things I wanted to highlight when I was speaking of the alignment with the River Nile and the Milky Way. What I was saying, not that, with the River Nile and the Caribbean island chain. Now, the fact that, because as me and you were talking off here, everybody may not get everything. Some people may have just come in too. So earlier we were talking about the River Nile is perfectly aligned with the Caribbean island sea, saying it in a nutshell. Now, in the same way that you have Antigua on the northeastern section of the Caribbean island sea, is the same way you have a specific city on the northeastern section of the River Nile. The city is called Heliopolis. Now, again, just to be clear, this is actually science. The River Nile is aligned with the Milky Way, and the River Nile is aligned with the Caribbean island chain. And on the northeastern section of the Caribbean island chain, you have Antigua. And on the northeastern section of the River Nile, you have Heliopolis. Now, what is interesting is that Heliopolis has a lot of similarities to Antigua. They're both historically referred to as the city of the priest. They're both called Sun City because Heliopolis means Sun City. Helio means sun and Opolis means city. It's the city of the sun. Both of them have the sun as their symbol. Like we have the sun in our flag, and Heliopolis has the sun and the altar. Now, Heliopolis had 365 obelisks and 365 temples to Sekhmet, in the same way that they speak of Antigua's 365 beaches. But don't get caught up with the beaches, but the number 365 is really the science of the cycle of the solar year. So it's the sun. Antigua is the sun city. That's why we have the megaliths that align with the sun. You know, Antigua is sun city mystically and spiritually as well. Now Antigua, again, not just being in the same spot as Heliopolis. Heliopolis is not Heliopolis' name. Heliopolis is a Greek word, again, city of the sun. The original name of Heliopolis is Anu, A-N-U, Anu. And Antigua's port abbreviation is Anu, A-N-U. So mystically, the ancient name for that city in Egypt or Kemet that aligns with Antigua as far as their position, both of them on the northeastern section of the River Nile, Caribbean island sea chain, which actually look like one another. Both of them have the same ancient name. Which is Anu.
Hey, look, Priest, there's never enough time for us to exhaust.
Hence the name of the book.
The topic. And I'm
Ancient and Modern.
I'm certainly going to invite you back so that we can continue our dialogue and our discussion and figure out collectively as a people how it is that we can develop our children and our next generation so that the things that you know and have learned, we can perpetually have them flowing throughout the generations. We will build generational wealth and a legacy of success that we can point to hundreds and thousands of years from now and say, well, it is because of the actions that we took at this point why we have these outcomes. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your presence here. And as we close our show for today, we have come to the end of another edition of Voice of the People. I just want to say thank you to all those who took the time to call in, the WhatsApps that have come to the WhatsApp board, those who agreed and those who disagreed. I'd like you to join us tomorrow for Open Line Friday and another edition of Voice of the People. And as we say at the end of the show, where there is no voice, the people perish. And where there is no vision, the people Wassara perish. I am Franz de Freitas.
Priest Isaac.
Keep the faith.